What if the key to your future success lies in the small, consistent actions you take each day? Imagine a life where your goals feel achievable, not because of a single breakthrough moment, but due to the powerful habits you've cultivated over time. Success Pulse, Shape Your Future Through Habits, is about tapping into this power. Habits are more than routines. They're the heartbeat of personal growth and achievement. Each chapter in this book will guide you step by step to understand, build, and sustain habits that align with your aspirations. You'll find relatable examples, hands-on exercises, and straightforward advice tailored to help you stay motivated and confident in the journey. By the end, you'll not only have a set of meaningful habits, but also a clearer path to a future you've actively shaped. Chapter 1: Setting the Pulse, Building the Foundation for Success. Every journey begins with a single step, and in the journey to success, that step is creating a strong foundation. This foundation is more than just a series of tasks. It's a steady rhythm that supports everything you build in life. Imagine that you're building a house. The structure might be stunning, the design might be flawless, but without a solid foundation, it won't stand. Just like this house, success is rooted in a base of small, consistent actions, habits that anchor and support our long-term goals. Habits may seem simple, even insignificant at first. After all, what can 5 minutes of daily focus, 15 minutes of planning, or a few moments of positive thinking really change? But small as they may appear, these actions compound over time, becoming the groundwork for bigger transformations. Think about a musician practicing scales, or an athlete training daily. The practice itself might feel repetitive, but each day adds to their skill, building expertise and confidence. In the same way, the habits we practice in our everyday lives add layers to our capabilities and confidence, setting a pulse that beats toward our success. One of the most powerful aspects of building foundational habits is their ability to reshape how we approach goals. Let's consider an example. Sarah, a young professional who dreams of starting her own business. Every day after work, she dedicates 20 minutes to researching her industry. At first, the progress is barely noticeable, and she wonders if these small steps will make any real difference. But over time, her knowledge grows, her confidence increases, and she finds herself better prepared for her goals. What began as a small habit eventually transforms her mindset, giving her the tools she needs to take that bigger leap. Sarah's success didn't arrive in a single moment of clarity. It was built through the regular, committed actions that she embedded into her daily life. Many people think they need to take dramatic steps or adopt intense routines to make a change. While grand gestures might feel motivating at first, they're often difficult to sustain. Building a foundation on smaller, manageable actions sets up a realistic path to follow. Take Michael, a busy father of 2 with little free time, but a goal of getting fit. Instead of diving into an hour-long workout each day, he starts with just 10 minutes every morning. Those 10 minutes aren't intimidating, they're doable and consistent. As weeks pass, his habit grows naturally, and before he knows it, he's managing a full workout routine that fits into his life. His success didn't require drastic changes, just a steady, achievable start. Another example is the habit of daily gratitude. A simple yet powerful practice. Amanda, a college student, decides to begin writing down 3 things she's thankful for each night. Initially, it's just a small effort before bed, but gradually it reshapes how she views her life. Instead of focusing on stress, she begins to notice the positive moments around her. This shift doesn't just improve her mood, it encourages her to embrace challenges with a sense of gratitude, helping her to build resilience. Her foundation, built on the habit of gratitude, strengthens her approach to life, making her more positive and open to growth. When we set a foundation with these small, achievable habits, we're also building a sense of reliability within ourselves. This reliability is key to maintaining momentum. If we feel overwhelmed by a goal, breaking it into manageable parts makes it feel achievable. This approach transforms the journey itself into something sustainable and motivating. By setting a rhythm with our habits, we reinforce a sense of progress, which keeps us going even when the goal feels distant. It's easy to get caught up in trying to achieve everything at once, but lasting success comes from steady, focused effort. Just as a heartbeat creates the rhythm for our bodies to function, foundational habits provide a rhythm that supports our ambitions. Imagine yourself setting this pulse, one small habit at a time, creating a foundation that carries you forward. This foundation is built on commitment rather than intensity, making it more enduring and adaptable. As you begin this journey of building habits, remember that every small action matters. Reflect on your own goals and consider the small steps you can take today to set the pulse for your success. What one habit could you introduce that aligns with the future you want to create? Whether it's reading for 15 minutes each day, taking a daily walk to clear your mind, or dedicating a few moments to planning tomorrow's priorities, these actions form the base upon which your success will grow. Practical advice. Start by identifying one small, achievable habit that supports your goals, something you can do each day without feeling overwhelmed. Commit to it and let it be the pulse that guides your journey. Reflective question. What is one small action you can take today that over time will help build the foundation for your success? Chapter 2. Mindset Matters. Shaping Positive Thoughts and Beliefs. Have you ever noticed how your thoughts shape the way you approach each day? The way we think determines how we perceive challenges, setbacks, and successes. In building habits for success, mindset is the key that unlocks sustainable change. It's not just about what we do, but how we think about what we do. A positive, growth-oriented mindset gives us the resilience to keep moving forward even when things get tough. This chapter explores how shaping positive thoughts and beliefs can reinforce your foundation, turning everyday habits into stepping stones for long-term growth. Mindset is often described as the lens through which we view the world. A growth mindset, for instance, focuses on learning and improvement. People with a growth mindset see setbacks as opportunities to learn, while those with a fixed mindset may see them as failures. Imagine John, a high school teacher who is struggling with new technology in his classroom. At first, he feels overwhelmed, believing he just isn't good with tech. But with encouragement from his peers, he shifts his perspective. He begins viewing each tech challenge as a learning opportunity. Instead of feeling defeated, he gradually gains confidence and finds joy in his progress. John's shift in mindset transformed his approach to a task that once seemed daunting, enabling him to not only succeed, but to grow in the process. Our beliefs about ourselves play a huge role in shaping our habits. If we believe that we're capable, we're more likely to persist through challenges. If, on the other hand, we doubt ourselves, we may give up before seeing results. Consider Sarah, a young professional working in sales. She initially struggles with rejection, taking each no as a personal failure. Her self-doubt makes it hard for her to keep going. After some reflection and support from a mentor, she begins to view each rejection as a step toward success. By shifting her mindset to see no as part of the process, she becomes more resilient. This belief change doesn't just improve her performance, it also encourages her to adopt more productive habits, like following up with clients and refining her sales pitch. Her success began with a change in how she thought about her abilities. One of the most powerful tools in shifting our mindset is self-talk. The way we speak to ourselves has a direct impact on our thoughts and actions. Negative self-talk can hold us back, making challenges feel insurmountable, while positive self-talk encourages us to persevere. For instance, imagine you're learning a new skill like public speaking. If you constantly tell yourself, "I'm terrible at this," you're less likely to improve. But if you remind yourself, "I'm learning, and I'll get better with practice," you'll feel more motivated to keep going. This simple shift in language can make a huge difference in how you perceive and approach the task. Over time, positive self-talk reinforces a growth mindset, helping you to build habits that align with your goals. Another example of the power of mindset comes from athletes. Many athletes use visualization techniques to imagine themselves succeeding before they even start. By mentally rehearsing their actions, they train their minds to see success as achievable. Take Laura, a long-distance runner. Before each race, she spends time visualizing herself crossing the finish line strong and confident. This practice boosts her confidence and reinforces her belief in her ability to perform well. Her visualization isn't just about imagining the outcome, It's about aligning her mindset with her goals, creating a mental pathway to success. Laura's approach shows that when we combine a positive mindset with consistent action, we create a powerful foundation for achievement. Changing one's mindset doesn't happen overnight. It takes practice, patience, and commitment to reframe old beliefs and adopt new ones. One way to start is by practicing gratitude, a simple habit that can shift your focus from what's missing to what you have. For example, Tom, a recent college graduate, felt overwhelmed by job rejections. To keep his spirits up, he started a habit of writing down 3 things he was grateful for each day. Over time, he found himself feeling more positive and motivated. His gratitude practice didn't directly change his job search, but it changed how he felt about it, allowing him to approach each application with a more hopeful mindset. Another approach to building a positive mindset is through affirmations, simple, empowering statements that reinforce your goals. Saying, "I am capable of growth," or "I am committed to my success," might feel awkward at first, but with repetition, affirmations can shape how you think and feel. When you affirm your goals, you're reminding yourself of the direction you're headed in. These statements become an anchor, helping you to refocus when doubts or setbacks arise. Just as daily exercise strengthens the body, daily affirmations strengthen the mind, reinforcing the habits that align with your vision of success. As you work to shape a positive mindset, remember that setbacks are part of the journey. A growth mindset doesn't mean avoiding failure, it means learning from it. When you encounter a challenge, ask yourself, "What can I learn from this?" This question redirects your focus from frustration to growth, making it easier to persevere. By adopting this perspective, you're not just changing your thoughts, you're building resilience, which will serve as a foundation for every habit you develop. Practical advice. Start by choosing one small practice, such as gratitude journaling or affirmations, to reinforce a positive mindset. Focus on consistency, even if it's just a few minutes each day, and observe how your mindset shifts over time. Reflective question. What is one belief or thought pattern you'd like to change, and how can a positive mindset help you take the first step toward that change? Chapter 3. Daily Power. The role of small habits in big changes. When we think of success, it's easy to picture big wins and grand achievements. But more often than not, success is built on the small, consistent actions we take each day. These daily habits may seem trivial on their own, but when repeated over time, they create a powerful momentum. Like drops of water carving out a canyon, small habits shape our lives in ways that might not be obvious at first, but become significant over time. This chapter dives into the transformative power of daily habits, showing how seemingly small actions can lead to big changes. The beauty of daily habits lies in their simplicity and sustainability. Let's consider the story of Daniel, a young professional with a passion for writing. For years, Daniel wanted to write a novel, but the thought of completing an entire book felt overwhelming. After much procrastination, he decided to start small. He committed to writing just 200 words a day, a task that felt achievable, even on his busiest days. At first it seemed insignificant, but within a month he had several pages written. By the end of the year, he had a completed draft. The daily commitment to a small manageable habit made his big dream attainable. Daniel's story illustrates how powerful it can be to start small and stay consistent. A seemingly small habit, repeated daily, can add up to something meaningful over time. The effectiveness of small habits lies in their ability to bypass resistance. When we set grand goals, we often feel pressured and anxious about achieving them. Small habits, however, are less intimidating, which makes it easier to start and stick with them. Take the example of Emily, who wanted to improve her fitness. Instead of signing up for intense workout sessions, she began with a 10-minute walk each morning. The habit was simple, but it got her moving. Over time, she added more activities like stretching and light exercise. Within a few months, Emily was exercising regularly, all because she had started with a small, manageable habit that grew naturally over time. Daily habits also help to rewire our brains for success. Each time we complete a small habit, we feel a sense of accomplishment, which reinforces our motivation to keep going. This reward loop strengthens our commitment to the habit and increases the likelihood that will continue it. Imagine Marcus, a college student who struggled with focus and productivity. He decided to start each study session with 5 minutes of focused reading. At first, it was just a way to ease into his studies, but he soon realized that the small ritual helped him concentrate better. Over time, Marcus expanded his study sessions, finding himself more productive and focused than ever. By establishing a simple habit, he trained his brain to associate study time with focus, making it easier to achieve his academic goals. One of the best things about small, daily habits is their adaptability. Life can be unpredictable, and rigid routines often fall apart when circumstances change. Small habits, however, are flexible. They can be adjusted to fit into even the busiest of days. For example, consider Lisa, a working mother who wanted to read more but struggled to find time. Instead of setting a fixed reading goal, she committed to reading 1 page each day. On most days, she read far more than that, but on particularly busy days, she simply read 1 page and still felt accomplished. Her small habit adapted to her life, allowing her to keep going even when things got hectic. Over time, Lisa developed a stronger reading habit, finishing several books throughout the year without feeling pressured or stressed. The cumulative effect of daily habits is often surprising. Small actions may not seem impactful on their own, but when repeated, they create a foundation for lasting change. Think of small habits like bricks in a wall. 1 brick might not seem like much, but as more are added, a sturdy wall begins to take shape. Each small habit builds on the last, creating a structure that supports your bigger goals. This cumulative effect is what makes daily habits so powerful. They compound over time, transforming your life in ways that feel natural and sustainable. Daily habits also provide a sense of control and predictability in our lives. When you commit to a daily habit, you're taking charge of at least one part of your day. This small act of control can reduce stress and improve your overall sense of well-being. Take the example of Sam, who felt overwhelmed by work and personal responsibilities. He decided to start his day with a 5-minute meditation practice. The habit was simple, but it provided him with a moment of calm and clarity before diving into his busy schedule. This small habit helped Sam feel more grounded and capable, allowing him to approach his day with a positive, focused mindset. As you consider the power of daily habits, remember that the key is consistency, not intensity. Small habits are easy to start and maintain, which is what makes them so effective. Instead of trying to make a drastic change overnight, focus on building a habit that you can stick with over the long term. These habits create a steady rhythm in your life, giving you a reliable foundation on which to build. Success doesn't come from occasional bursts of effort, it's born from the steady, daily actions that add up over time. Practical advice: choose one small habit that aligns with your goals, something you can do daily without feeling overwhelmed. Focus on consistency, and let the habit grow naturally as it becomes part of your routine. Reflective question: what is one small habit you can start today that, when practiced consistently, will bring you closer to your long-term goals? Chapter 4. Consistency Counts. How to make habits stick. Have you ever started a new habit with enthusiasm, only to find it slipping away after a few days or weeks? Staying consistent is one of the biggest challenges when building new habits, yet it's the key to making them last. Consistency transforms actions into habits, turning one-time efforts into lasting behaviors. In this chapter, we'll explore how to stay committed to the habits you want to build and learn strategies for making them a natural part of your life. Consistency is like the glue that holds your habits together. Even the simplest action, when repeated consistently, becomes ingrained and automatic over time. Consider the story of Maria, who wanted to improve her health by drinking more water. At first, she kept forgetting, and her progress was inconsistent. But then she decided to set a daily reminder on her phone, prompting her to drink water at regular intervals throughout the day. This small act of consistency turned her intention into a routine. Over time, Maria no longer needed the reminder. Drinking water became second nature. Her story shows that consistency doesn't require grand gestures. It's often the small, steady actions that make the biggest difference. One of the best ways to build consistency is to start small and focus on a single habit at a time. When we try to tackle multiple goals at once, we often become overwhelmed, which makes it harder to stay on track. Take the example of David, who wanted to improve his productivity. Initially, he tried to create multiple habits all at once, waking up early, exercising, and limiting his screen time. The sudden change was too much, and he found it difficult to stick with all three. Realizing this, he decided to focus on just one habit, waking up 30 minutes earlier each day. By concentrating on this single habit, he was able to stay consistent and eventually incorporate other habits as well. David's experience illustrates that by starting small and focusing, we set ourselves up for lasting success. Consistency also relies on having a clear reason, a purpose that keeps you motivated. When we understand why a habit is important to us, it's easier to stay committed, even when motivation fades. Imagine Sarah, who wanted to save money, but found it difficult to stay consistent with her budget. After reflecting on her goals, she realized that her true motivation was to save for a dream trip abroad. With this clear purpose in mind, she started tracking her expenses daily. Even on days when she felt tempted to spend, the thought of her goal kept her on track. Her commitment to her budget grew stronger. Not because it was easy, but because it was meaningful. Sarah's story shows that a clear why can strengthen our resolve, making it easier to stick with a habit over time. Building consistency is also about creating an environment that supports your habits. Our surroundings play a big role in shaping our behaviors, often without us realizing it. If your environment makes it easy to follow through on a habit, consistency becomes much more attainable. For example, Tom wanted to exercise regularly but struggled to stay consistent. To make things easier, he started setting out his workout clothes the night before. This small change in his environment acted as a prompt, reminding him to exercise in the morning. With his workout gear ready, the barrier to exercising was reduced, and it became easier to stick with his goal. Tom's experience highlights how powerful our environment can be in supporting consistency. By making small adjustments, we can create a space that encourages us to keep going. Another helpful strategy for consistency is tracking your progress. When you track your habits, you create a visual reminder of your efforts, which can be incredibly motivating. For instance, Rachel decided to track her reading habit by marking off each day she completed her reading goal. Seeing her progress visually helped her stay committed, even on days when she felt less motivated. As the days turned into weeks, her consistency paid off, and reading became an effortless part of her routine. Tracking isn't just about keeping a record, it reinforces your progress, reminding you of how far you've come and encouraging you to continue. It's also essential to be kind to yourself and flexible when building consistency. Life is full of unexpected events, and sometimes missing a day or two is unavoidable. Instead of letting a missed day derail your efforts, focus on getting back on track as soon as possible. Remember, consistency isn't about perfection. Imagine Mark, who was committed to practicing guitar every day. When a busy week interrupted his schedule, he initially felt discouraged, but he reminded himself that one missed day didn't erase his progress. He got back to his practice the next day, staying consistent over time despite occasional interruptions. Mark's story is a reminder that consistency is about the long-term journey, not flawless execution. As you work on building consistency, keep in mind that it's a gradual process. Habits take time to develop, and consistency is the foundation that helps them stick. By starting small, focusing on one habit at a time, understanding your why, creating a supportive environment, and tracking your progress, you can strengthen your commitment to the habits that matter most to you. Remember, it's the steady rhythm of consistency that transforms intentions into reality, one day at a time. Practical advice: choose one habit you'd like to strengthen and focus on it exclusively for the next few weeks. Set up reminders, track your progress, and remember the reason behind your habit to stay motivated. Reflective question: what is one small action you can take today to make your environment more supportive of the habit you want to build? Chapter 5: Breaking Barriers, Overcoming Challenges and Setbacks. No matter how committed we are to building positive habits, challenges and setbacks are inevitable. They're part of the process, often testing our resolve and determination. The good news is that setbacks don't have to stop us. They can serve as valuable opportunities for growth. In this chapter, we'll explore how to overcome the obstacles that arise on the journey to success, using them as stepping stones instead of roadblocks. Challenges often come in unexpected forms, sometimes external, like time constraints, and other times internal, such as self-doubt. Imagine Anna, a busy entrepreneur who committed to journaling daily as a way to clear her mind and stay focused. She started strong, but after a few weeks, her workload increased, making it hard to find the time. Instead of abandoning her habit, she decided to modify it, reducing her journaling to 5 minutes a day. This adjustment allowed her to maintain her commitment without feeling overwhelmed. Anna's story demonstrates that flexibility is essential when facing challenges. By adjusting rather than giving up, she found a way to continue her habit despite her busy schedule. Sometimes, overcoming setbacks requires a shift in perspective. When we view challenges as opportunities for learning, we become more resilient and less likely to be discouraged by them. Take the example of James, who aimed to run every morning to improve his fitness. He started off with enthusiasm, but a minor injury disrupted his routine, and he felt disheartened. After some reflection, he decided to switch to cycling temporarily, giving his injury time to heal, while still maintaining his commitment to fitness. This experience taught him the importance of adaptability. Rather than seeing his injury as a failure, he viewed it as a chance to try something new. By reframing his setback, James was able to stay on track and even discovered a new activity he enjoyed. Another common barrier to habit building is self-doubt. We may question our abilities or worry that we're not capable of achieving our goals. Sarah, a college student aiming to improve her public speaking, struggled with this feeling. Each time she attempted to speak in front of others, her nerves got the best of her, and she considered giving up. However, she decided to break her goal into smaller, manageable steps. Instead of diving into large presentations, she practiced speaking in front of one friend at a time. Gradually, her confidence grew, and she was able to work her way up to larger groups. Sarah's story illustrates that overcoming self-doubt often involves taking small steps. By breaking down her goal, she built confidence and turned a challenge into a gradual, achievable journey. Distractions are another common obstacle to maintaining habits, especially in our fast-paced world. They can easily pull us off course, making it difficult to stay consistent. For example, Leo wanted to read more but found himself constantly reaching for his phone. Recognizing this as a distraction, he started setting aside specific, phone-free reading time each day. He also placed his book in a visible spot to remind him of his goal. These small changes helped him resist distractions, allowing him to build a reading habit without interruptions. Leo's experience shows that sometimes overcoming challenges involves making intentional changes to our environment, setting ourselves up for success. Setbacks are also a chance to learn more about our strengths and weaknesses. When something goes wrong, it can be tempting to view it as a failure, but setbacks often reveal valuable insights. Consider Mia, a working mother who set a goal to exercise regularly. After several successful weeks, she missed a workout and felt discouraged. Instead of giving up, she reflected on what caused her to miss the session. She realized that her evenings were often too busy, making it hard to fit in a workout. To solve this, she decided to switch her exercise routine to mornings, a time when she had fewer interruptions. By analyzing her setback, Mia found a solution that worked better for her lifestyle. Her story highlights how setbacks can provide us with the insights needed to improve our routines and strengthen our commitment. Sometimes setbacks come from trying to do too much at once. When we set overly ambitious goals, it's easy to feel overwhelmed and lose motivation. Brian, who wanted to develop a meditation habit, decided to start with a goal of 30 minutes daily. While he initially felt motivated, he soon found it difficult to sustain. Instead of giving up, he scaled back to 5 minutes a day, a habit he could stick with consistently. As he grew more comfortable, he gradually increased the time. Brian's experience shows that starting small and building up is often more effective than aiming too high from the start. When challenges arise, scaling down can help us keep moving forward. Overcoming barriers is ultimately about building resilience, the ability to keep going even when things get tough. Resilience doesn't mean never struggling. It means having the strength to rise after each setback. Each time we push through a challenge, we strengthen our resilience, making it easier to face future obstacles. Think of it like building a muscle. Every time you work through a setback, you're strengthening your commitment, making it easier to stay on track the next time a challenge arises. As you move forward, remember that setbacks are normal. They don't define your journey, they're simply part of it. Each challenge you face is an opportunity to learn, grow, and adjust. The path to success is rarely smooth, but by staying flexible, open to learning, and committed to your goals, you can overcome obstacles and continue progressing toward the future you envision. Practical advice. When you encounter a setback, take a moment to reflect on what caused it and consider any adjustments you can make to keep moving forward. Sometimes a small change is all it takes to overcome a challenge. Reflective question. What is one recent setback you experienced, and how could you use it as a learning opportunity to strengthen your commitment to your goals? Chapter 6. Energy Boost. Using motivation and momentum wisely. Motivation can feel like a burst of energy, a spark that ignites our desire to take action. Yet, as many of us have experienced, motivation can be fleeting. One day it's strong, driving us forward, and the next, it's nowhere to be found. This chapter explores how to harness motivation when it's high and build momentum to keep going when motivation fades. By learning to use these tools wisely, you can keep your energy steady and make consistent progress toward your goals. Motivation is often strongest when we first start a new habit or set a goal. Think of John, who recently decided to improve his fitness. At the start, he felt highly motivated, joining a gym and purchasing new workout clothes. His initial excitement drove him to exercise daily. But after a few weeks, the novelty wore off, and he found himself struggling to keep up. Instead of relying solely on motivation, John decided to create a structured routine that didn't depend on how he felt each day. He set specific days and times for his workouts, so even when his motivation dipped, his routine kept him on track. John's experience shows that motivation can provide an excellent starting boost, but it's routines and consistency that keep us moving forward. Another way to use motivation effectively is to break your goals into smaller, achievable steps. When a goal feels overwhelming, it's easy to lose enthusiasm. Take the example of Lisa, a graphic designer who wanted to build a portfolio of her work. At first, the idea of completing an entire portfolio seemed daunting, and her motivation started to wane. Instead of focusing on the end goal, she decided to complete one project at a time, setting small milestones along the way. Each completed project gave her a sense of accomplishment, boosting her motivation and building momentum. By focusing on smaller steps, Lisa was able to maintain her motivation and eventually achieve her larger goal. This approach highlights how breaking down big tasks can help sustain motivation and create a sense of steady progress. Momentum. The feeling of being in the flow or on a roll is another powerful tool for keeping your energy high. Once you've made progress, it's easier to keep going because you've already built a rhythm. Imagine Tom, who wanted to read more, but found it hard to stay consistent. He started with a commitment to read just 10 pages each day. After a week, he realized he was enjoying the process and started reading more without thinking about it. The act of reading daily built momentum, making it easier to reach for his book each day without forcing himself. Tom's experience shows how momentum works hand in hand with motivation, allowing him to build a reading habit that felt natural and enjoyable. One of the most effective ways to maintain momentum is by celebrating small wins. Recognizing your achievements, no matter how small, reinforces your progress and keeps your energy up. For example, Sarah, a college student, wanted to improve her grades. Each time she completed a study session, she took a moment to acknowledge her effort, reminding herself of the bigger goal she was working toward. These small celebrations kept her motivated and focused, helping her build a steady study routine. By celebrating her progress, Sarah not only maintained her momentum, but also boosted her confidence in her ability to succeed. This simple practice shows how celebrating each step reinforces positive behaviors, making it easier to stay on track. Another way to build momentum is to establish cues or reminders that prompt you to take action. Our brains respond well to routines, and by creating a regular cue, you can make it easier to engage in your desired behavior. Take Mark, who wanted to develop a writing habit. He chose to write every morning right after his cup of coffee, using his coffee as a cue. Over time, his brain associated coffee with writing, making it easier to sit down and start each day. The cue provided a natural transition into his habit, making it easier to maintain momentum without relying solely on motivation. Mark's example shows how establishing a cue can create a powerful link between daily actions and long-term goals. While motivation and momentum are helpful tools, it's important to avoid burnout. When we push too hard, we risk losing both our energy and our enthusiasm. Consider Emily, a teacher who set a goal to work on her lesson plans each evening. At first, she was motivated and kept a steady pace, but over time, she started to feel drained. Recognizing this, she adjusted her routine to include short breaks and gave herself one day off each week. By pacing herself, she was able to maintain her energy and motivation without burning out. Emily's experience reminds us that sustainability is key to long-term success. Balancing motivation with rest and recovery keeps our energy steady, allowing us to maintain momentum over time. One final strategy for boosting motivation and momentum is to visualize the impact of your efforts. When you picture the outcome of your hard work, you create a mental connection to your goal, which can be incredibly motivating. Imagine Rachel, who wanted to learn a new language. Whenever she felt her motivation fading, she would close her eyes and imagine herself conversing confidently with native speakers during a trip abroad. This vision reignited her excitement and gave her a fresh boost of energy to keep practicing. By visualizing the result, Rachel strengthened her commitment, making it easier to push through challenging moments. Visualization can be a powerful tool for connecting with your why and keeping your motivation alive. As you work on using motivation and momentum, remember that both are tools to support you, not the sole driving forces. Motivation can give you a burst of energy, and momentum can help you maintain it, but ultimately your habits and routines are what make lasting change possible. By harnessing motivation, building momentum, and creating sustainable routines, you can keep your energy high and move steadily toward your goals. Practical advice. Find a cue or reminder that prompts you to take action on a habit you want to build. Use it as a starting point to build momentum, and remember to celebrate small achievements along the way. Reflective question. What is one small win you can celebrate today to boost your motivation and keep your momentum going? Chapter 7. Purposeful actions. Aligning habits with your goals. Every habit we build should serve a purpose, aligning with the broader goals we set for ourselves. Purposeful action means not only working toward a goal, but ensuring each habit supports that vision. When our daily actions reflect our ambitions, we create a meaningful path to success, fueled by intention and clarity. In this chapter, we'll explore how to align your habits with your goals, making each action a purposeful step toward the future you desire. Purposeful action begins with understanding your why, the reason behind each habit. Take Mia, for example. She wanted to lead a healthier lifestyle, but her attempts at exercising and eating better always fell short. When she sat down to reflect, she realized her true motivation. She wanted more energy to play with her young daughter. With this purpose in mind, Mia found it easier to commit to her healthy habits, knowing they aligned with a goal that genuinely mattered to her. Instead of feeling like a chore, each workout became a step toward living the life she envisioned with her daughter. Mia's story shows that when our actions are grounded in purpose, they feel more rewarding and are easier to maintain. Another example of purposeful action comes from David, who aimed to advance in his career. His initial approach was to work longer hours, thinking that sheer effort would lead to success. However, he quickly realized that his time wasn't always productive. After some reflection, he decided to focus on specific skills that aligned with his career goals, such as learning new software and improving his communication. By aligning his actions with a clear purpose, David began to see real progress in his work. His example highlights the importance of directing your energy toward actions that serve your goals, rather than simply putting in more time. Purposeful action isn't about doing more, it's about doing what matters. Purposeful action also requires setting clear, measurable goals. When we know exactly what we're aiming for, it's easier to choose habits that support that vision. Consider Sarah, a high school student with a goal of getting into a good college. Instead of vaguely studying harder, she set specific goals, such as improving her math scores and building a strong essay portfolio. Each day, she dedicated time to these goals, making sure her study habits aligned with her vision of academic success. This clarity helped Sarah stay motivated and focused, even when the workload felt overwhelming. Her experience shows that specific, purposeful goals make it easier to build habits that drive real results. One powerful way to align your habits with your goals is through visualization. When you picture the outcome of your efforts, you strengthen your commitment to the actions that will get you there. Imagine Daniel, a musician who dreamed of performing on stage. He practiced daily, but sometimes he struggled to stay motivated. Whenever he felt his enthusiasm dip, he would close his eyes and imagine himself playing confidently in front of an audience. This mental image fueled his commitment, making each practice session feel like a purposeful step toward his dream. Daniel's experience illustrates how visualization can reinforce the connection between daily habits and long-term goals, turning ordinary actions into meaningful progress. Purposeful action also involves periodically assessing your habits to ensure they still align with your goals. Life is dynamic, and as our goals evolve, our habits should too. Take Carla, for example. She had built a habit of reading business books to improve her leadership skills, but over time, her role shifted, and she needed to focus more on team building than technical skills. Recognizing this, Carla adjusted her reading list to include books on communication and empathy. By realigning her habits with her current goals, she ensured that her actions remained purposeful and relevant. Carla's story highlights the importance of being flexible and willing to adjust your habits as your goals change. Purposeful action can also deepen our sense of fulfillment. When our habits align with our goals, we feel more satisfied and motivated. For instance, Tom, an environmental advocate, decided to make small lifestyle changes that aligned with his passion for sustainability. He started by reducing his plastic use, then gradually adopted other habits, like biking to work and supporting local businesses. Each action reinforced his commitment to his cause, giving him a sense of purpose that motivated him to keep going. Tom's journey shows that when our habits reflect our values and goals, they become more than just routines. They become meaningful steps toward the life we want to lead. Sometimes, aligning habits with goals requires removing actions that no longer serve us. This process is known as habit pruning, and it's a way to focus our energy on what truly matters. For example, Rachel, a busy professional, realized that her habit of checking emails first thing in the morning was setting a reactive tone for her day. To shift her focus, she replaced this habit with a morning reflection session, where she set her priorities for the day. By removing a habit that no longer aligned with her goals, Rachel created space for actions that supported her productivity and well-being. Her story demonstrates that purposeful action isn't just about adding new habits, but also about letting go of those that don't serve us. As you work to align your habits with your goals, remember that each action is a step toward the bigger picture. Purposeful action is about making intentional choices, setting clear goals, and allowing yourself the flexibility to adjust as needed. When your habits align with your purpose, they bring a sense of clarity and motivation that makes it easier to stay on track. Success isn't achieved overnight. It's built through small, consistent actions that are guided by a clear vision of the future you want to create. Practical advice: take a few minutes to reflect on one of your current goals. Identify a habit that supports this goal and think about how you can strengthen it. Consider whether there are any habits you need to let go of to make more space for purposeful actions. Reflective question: what is one habit you could adopt or adjust today that would bring you closer to achieving your goals? Chapter 8. Tracking Growth. Measuring Progress for Motivation. Progress can sometimes be hard to see, especially when it unfolds gradually. This is where tracking growth becomes valuable. By measuring your progress, you give yourself a clear sense of how far you've come, which boosts motivation and helps you stay committed to your goals. Tracking growth isn't about creating pressure. It's about recognizing and celebrating your journey. This chapter explores how measuring progress can keep you motivated and offer insight into your growth, helping you stay focused on the path to success. Tracking growth is like building a roadmap for your goals. It gives you a sense of direction and helps you stay oriented, even when the journey feels slow. Take the example of Rachel, a writer working on her first novel. Writing an entire book felt overwhelming, so she broke her goal down and committed to writing 500 words a day. Each day she would mark her word count on a calendar, creating a visual representation of her progress. On days when she felt discouraged, looking at the calendar reminded her of how far she'd come, motivating her to keep going. Rachel's approach shows that tracking can make large goals feel achievable, one small step at a time. One of the most common ways to track growth is by setting measurable milestones. When we define clear points of progress, we create a series of mini goals that are easier to reach. For instance, Mike, a beginner guitarist, set a goal to play his favorite song by the end of the year. Instead of diving into the full song, he set smaller milestones, mastering each chord, learning the rhythm, and practicing transitions. Each milestone gave him a sense of accomplishment, helping him build confidence along the way. By tracking his growth through milestones, Mike turned a challenging goal into a series of manageable steps, keeping his motivation strong and consistent. Tracking growth can also reveal patterns and areas for improvement. Imagine Sarah, a recent college graduate looking to improve her budgeting habits. She started by tracking her expenses daily, noting where her money was going. After a month, she reviewed her spending and noticed a pattern. Small daily purchases were adding up, impacting her savings goal. This insight allowed her to adjust her spending, focusing more on her long-term priorities. Sarah's experience highlights how tracking can provide valuable feedback, helping us adjust our actions to align more closely with our goals. By understanding where we're succeeding and where we need to improve, we can make more informed choices. Celebrating progress is another important aspect of tracking growth. Recognizing your achievements, no matter how small, reinforces your commitment and gives you the motivation to keep going. Think of Kevin, a high school student training for a marathon. Each week, he recorded his running distance, gradually increasing it as he built stamina. Every time he reached a new distance milestone, he took a moment to celebrate, acknowledging his hard work. This practice kept his spirits high and reminded him that each run brought him closer to his goal. Kevin's story demonstrates that celebrating small wins can have a big impact on motivation, turning each step forward into a rewarding experience. One effective way to track progress is through journaling. A journal allows you to record your thoughts, feelings, and achievements, creating a personal record of your journey. Take Emily, for example. She wanted to build her confidence in public speaking, so she started journaling after each presentation. In her entries, she noted what went well, what she could improve, and how she felt. Over time, Emily saw her progress, noticing how her nerves decreased and her skills improved. Her journal became a source of encouragement, reminding her of her growth and motivating her to keep pushing forward. Journaling can be a powerful tool for tracking growth, as it provides both a record of progress and a space for self-reflection. Another useful tool for tracking growth is a visual progress chart. Seeing your progress visually can make it feel more tangible and satisfying. For example, Alex, an artist aiming to improve his sketching skills, created a chart to track his daily practice. Each time he completed a drawing session, he filled in a square on the chart. Watching the chart fill up over time gave him a sense of accomplishment, motivating him to stick with his practice. The visual representation helped Alex see his commitment in a way that numbers alone couldn't capture. His experience shows how visual tools can enhance motivation by making progress feel more concrete. While tracking growth is essential, it's also important to maintain a balanced perspective. Measuring progress shouldn't create pressure or stress, rather it should serve as a source of encouragement. Jessica, a language learner, initially tracked her vocabulary gains, but found herself feeling frustrated on days when she learned fewer words. Realizing this, she shifted her focus to tracking consistency instead, marking each day she practiced, rather than the number of words learned. This adjustment allowed her to celebrate her dedication to learning without feeling pressured by daily results. Jessica's experience reminds us that tracking growth is about recognizing effort and consistency, not perfection. As you work to track your growth, remember that each step forward is valuable, no matter how small it may seem. Progress isn't always linear. There will be ups and downs along the way. The purpose of tracking is to appreciate your journey, understanding that every effort contributes to your larger goal. Whether you track through milestones, journaling, or visual charts, the key is to find a method that keeps you motivated and inspired. Practical advice: choose a simple tracking method that suits your goal, such as a journal, a calendar, or a visual chart. Focus on consistency, and take time to celebrate each small achievement along the way. Reflective question: what is one small milestone you can set and track to recognize your progress toward a larger goal? Chapter 9. Resilience in Routine. Adapting and evolving habits over time. Building habits is a powerful way to reach our goals, but as life changes, so must our routines. Flexibility is essential to creating habits that last, helping us adapt when circumstances shift or challenges arise. Resilience in routine is about knowing when to adjust your habits and how to keep moving forward, even when things don't go exactly as planned. This chapter explores the importance of adapting and evolving habits, allowing them to stay relevant and supportive as you grow. Resilience in routine begins with understanding that habits are tools, not rules. They serve us best when they fit into our current lifestyle and goals, which may change over time. Take the example of Laura, a new parent who had maintained a morning yoga habit for years. When her baby was born, her mornings became unpredictable, and she struggled to keep up with her routine. Rather than giving up, Laura decided to adapt her habit. She shortened her yoga sessions to 10 minutes and moved them to her baby's nap time. This adjustment allowed her to maintain the habit without feeling overwhelmed. Laura's experience shows that flexibility is essential for resilience, allowing habits to evolve alongside life's demands. Another aspect of resilience is recognizing when a habit is no longer effective. Sometimes we outgrow habits or find that they no longer serve our goals. For example, consider Tom, a college student who made a habit of staying up late to study. This routine worked well during his freshman year, but as his responsibilities grew, he found it harder to focus during late-night sessions. After reflecting on his needs, Tom decided to shift his study habit to the early mornings, a time when he felt more alert and productive. By recognizing the need for change, he adapted his habit to better support his current goals. Tom's story highlights that resilience in routine is about being honest with ourselves and willing to let go of habits that no longer fit. Sometimes adapting a habit involves scaling it down temporarily. Life can be unpredictable, and during busy or stressful periods, it's common to feel that there isn't enough time for personal goals. Instead of abandoning a habit entirely, scaling down allows us to maintain consistency in a way that fits our current circumstances. Take Sarah, a fitness enthusiast who aimed to work out for an hour each day. When she started a new job, her time became limited, making it hard to fit in her full routine. Rather than quitting, she adjusted her habit to a 15-minute workout, allowing her to keep exercising without adding stress. By scaling down, Sarah kept her habit alive and created space to expand it when her schedule allowed. Building resilience in routine also means being prepared for setbacks. No matter how committed we are, life can throw unexpected challenges our way. Mark, for example, had developed a strong reading habit, dedicating time each evening to unwind with a book. However, during a particularly busy period at work, he missed several days. Instead of feeling discouraged, he reminded himself that setbacks are normal and made a plan to get back on track. Mark's experience shows that resilience isn't about avoiding setbacks, it's about knowing how to recover from them. By treating each day as a fresh start, he was able to bounce back without letting a temporary lapse derail his progress. Another key to adapting habits is adding variety to keep them engaging. Repetition can sometimes lead to boredom, which makes it harder to stay committed. Emily, a language learner, experienced this when her habit of studying vocabulary became monotonous. To keep herself engaged, she added new activities, like watching movies in the target language and speaking with native speakers. These changes refreshed her routine, making it more enjoyable and sustainable. Emily's approach highlights that small adjustments can make a big difference, turning a routine from something tedious into something rewarding and fun. Resilience in routine also involves learning from each phase of growth. As we develop new skills and habits, we gain insights that can help us improve our routines over time. Take Daniel, a musician who started practicing guitar for just 15 minutes a day. As his skills improved, he found that he wanted to challenge himself more. He gradually extended his practice sessions and set specific goals, like learning a new song each week. By building on his initial habit, Daniel adapted his routine to match his growing abilities, allowing him to continue progressing. His experience shows that resilience is about growing with your habits, evolving them to reflect your personal development. As you work to build resilience in routine, remember that flexibility is a strength, not a setback. Adapting your habits to fit your current life isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of commitment to your goals. Just as seasons change, our routines may need adjustments to keep up with our lives. Resilience isn't about forcing a habit to stay the same, but rather letting it evolve so that it remains a source of support and growth. Practical advice: when you notice a habit becoming difficult to maintain, take a moment to reflect. Ask yourself if an adjustment could make it easier or more relevant to your current life. Remember, small changes can keep a habit alive even during challenging times. What is one habit you're currently struggling with? And how could you adapt it to better fit your life today? Chapter 10: Shaping Your Future. Sustaining Habits for Lifelong Success. As we reach the end of this journey, it's clear that the habits we build today shape the future we experience tomorrow. Sustaining habits for lifelong success is about creating routines that last, even as our lives and goals evolve. It's the commitment to keep moving forward, using what we've learned to build a future aligned with our aspirations. In this final chapter, we'll explore how to maintain the habits you've built and keep growing toward a fulfilling, successful life. Sustaining habits starts with a long-term perspective. Building a habit is only the beginning. The real challenge lies in maintaining it over time. Consider Michael, a successful entrepreneur who attributes much of his success to his habit of daily learning. For years, he committed to reading for at least 30 minutes each day. Even on busy days, he found a way to keep his habit alive, whether by reading articles, listening to audiobooks, or reflecting on what he'd learned. This habit not only helped him stay informed, but also reinforced his growth mindset. Michael's experience shows that lifelong habits are about consistency and adaptability, finding ways to keep growing even as life changes. To sustain habits long-term, it's essential to reconnect with your why regularly. Over time, our goals can evolve, and staying aligned with our purpose helps ensure our habits remain meaningful. Take Sarah, a fitness coach who started her exercise habit to improve her health. Over the years, her purpose evolved to include inspiring her clients. By staying connected to her why, Sarah found renewed motivation to maintain her routine, knowing that it influenced her well-being and that of those she guided. Her story reminds us that a clear purpose helps keep us committed, especially when motivation dips or life gets challenging. One key to sustaining habits is celebrating progress, no matter how small. Small wins remind us of our achievements and reinforce our commitment to keep going. Think of Daniel, who set out to learn a new language. Each time he completed a lesson, he acknowledged his progress, celebrating each milestone. These small celebrations kept his energy high and his motivation steady, helping him maintain his habit even when progress felt slow. Daniel's experience shows that celebrating small wins keeps our habits enjoyable and reminds us that we're constantly moving forward, no matter the pace. Another way to sustain habits for the long term is to adapt them as needed. Life is dynamic, and our routines should be flexible enough to change along with it. Imagine Alex, a medical student who developed a habit of studying in the evenings. As he transitioned into a demanding internship, his schedule changed, making evening study sessions difficult to maintain. Instead of abandoning his habit, Alex shifted his study time to early mornings, allowing him to stay consistent without added stress. His experience illustrates that sustaining habits is about resilience and adaptability, finding ways to make your routine work within the realities of life. Building a support system is also invaluable for sustaining habits. When we share our goals with others, we create accountability, encouragement, and a sense of community. Consider Lisa, a new runner who joined a local running club to help her stay consistent. Running with others not only motivated her, but also provided her with support during tough days. Knowing she had a group to encourage her made it easier to keep her commitment. Lisa's story demonstrates that surrounding ourselves with people who share or support our goals strengthens our commitment, making it easier to maintain our habits over time. Sustaining habits for the future also means keeping a growth mindset. A growth mindset allows us to see setbacks as opportunities to learn and improve, rather than as failures. For instance, Rachel, a high school teacher, made it a habit to improve her teaching methods continuously. When she encountered challenges, she treated them as learning experiences, exploring new ways to engage her students. This mindset kept her passionate and committed to her growth as an educator, enabling her to sustain her habit of learning and adapting in her field. Rachel's approach shows that by embracing challenges, we sustain our habits with resilience, constantly seeking ways to improve. A valuable practice in sustaining habits is periodic reflection. Taking time to assess your progress, celebrate your successes, and identify areas for growth helps ensure your habits remain aligned with your goals. Tom, a writer, committed to reflecting on his writing progress every month. During these sessions, he reviewed his achievements, set new goals, and adjusted his habits to stay motivated and productive. This practice helped him stay connected to his purpose and reminded him of his long-term vision. Tom's story shows that reflection reinforces our commitment to our goals, making it easier to stay on track. Ultimately, sustaining habits for lifelong success is about building a foundation that supports your goals, values, and dreams. As you continue on your journey, remember that habits are not just tasks to complete, but tools for shaping the life you desire. Each small action you take contributes to the bigger picture, gradually moving you closer to your vision. Success is a process, built one habit at a time, and sustained through consistency, resilience, and a commitment to growth. Practical advice: set aside time each month to reflect on your habits. Consider what's working well, what could be improved, and how your routines align with your goals. Use this reflection to make any adjustments needed to stay motivated and on track. Reflective question: what is one habit you've built that you want to carry into the future, and how can you ensure it remains a lasting part of your life? Conclusion: throughout Success Pulse, Shape Your Future Through Habits, we've explored the transformative power of small, consistent actions. From setting a strong foundation and developing a growth mindset to tracking progress and adapting routines, each chapter has offered practical steps to build habits that lead to lasting success. By aligning daily actions with long-term goals and remaining resilient in the face of challenges, you have the tools to shape a future that reflects your ambitions and values. Remember, success isn't about massive leaps, but about steady, intentional steps toward growth. Thank you for taking the time to watch this journey unfold. We hope it's inspired you to take your own steps toward success. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more content that supports your path to growth and achievement.